Personally, I never thought I'd see this day. I wasn't a campaigner myself. I saw and retweeted, and a couple of posts I put, release the Snyder Cut, but in my heart of hearts I thought, oh, this is just wishful thinking, it won't ever come. But credit to the fans, they stayed strong, and the social media and online onslaught of hashtags has brought us the film that was foretold. Although it is kind of an extended director's cut, I mean, it's definitely extended, it's 4 hours long. But it is an entirely different movie. And you can't call it a director's cut when it's a different movie. I guess that's why Zack Snyder's put his name on it. It is his movie. This is his vision, his labour of love. Hold tight, reelers, it's the Real Deal review of Zack Snyder's Justice League. Now, a little over 3 years ago, we got the theatrical release of the Justice League movie. And it was bad. Because it was like a crash. The film just did a mishmash of wrongness. It didn't work at all. So to avoid any confusion on what this movie is, this is what happened. Zack Snyder was the original director of the film back when it was being made. But unfortunately, tragedy struck the Snyder family when Zack Snyder's daughter committed suicide. Of course, he stepped away from the project at this time, but he had shot the film and intended it to be a 3.5+ hour epic superhero team-up movie. And the studio, in light of this, rather than delaying the film, they brought in Joss Whedon post-production. I know what you're thinking, Joss Whedon, he did the Avengers films, 2 of them. He'd be a good fit, he can finish this. But wait. No. Mistake! Whedon took that 3.5+ hours of footage and cut the film down to around 2 hours. He reordered certain parts and he wanted to do some reshoots and include those too. Now this all meant that the finished film that we got was universally panned on release. Everyone said and everyone agreed that it was a clash of visions, and fans were left dismayed and terrified at the fucked up upper lip that Superman had, to say the least. This is because of the reshoots Whedon wanted, and Henry Cavill had a moustache that he grew for a Mission Impossible film that he was contractually obliged to keep. So by CGIing it out, we got this. In a world where Superman can't shave, Joss Whedon presents The Lip. Rather than just accept this, what did the fans do? They took to Twitter and other social media platforms and online forums, and the hashtag #ReleaseTheSnyderCut was born. And it kept gaining momentum. It just seemed that this was everywhere. The outcry and support for this release was overwhelming, and eventually it meant that about a year ago, Zack Snyder was given the opportunity to go back to the editing room, put together his version of the Justice League, and give the fans the film he wanted to give us in the first place. Now, if you saw my recent review of the Ultimate Edition of Batman vs Superman, some of the extra scenes that were given in that film really do play into the opening of this film. It really goes to show you, just don't edit Zack Snyder. Just let him run the film. The scenes are there for a reason. He has a story to tell. I also said, and it's kind of obvious from the trailers, that this new cut of the Justice League would revolve more around Darkseid. You really do feel that in this, Steppenwolf is not the most prominent threat. He's just a precursor to something much, much worse, and that's why the Justice League need to stop him here and now. And Steppenwolf himself in this version is a far better villain. He has more understandable motivations now. He's doing another's bidding. He's a much more interesting villain now. Before, we didn't understand his motivations. The threat the Justice League are facing here is completely different. It is different. No more of this parademon smelling fear crap. Darkseid is looming throughout. Why the attack is coming is far better depicted and reasoned for. Drawing a few more comparisons from the 2017 version, this film spends more time giving us character backgrounds and motivations. In either instance, this was the introduction of Aquaman, Cyborg and the Flash. But in Whedon's version, I was like, what's the point of Cyborg? He wasn't very interesting, and only purpose was to kind of connect to the mother boxes. Now in Zack Snyder's version, it shows how much content was put towards Cyborg. The film features this character and how much he was downsized in Joss Whedon's version. Yes, he's a JL member and he is pretty cool in the comics, but that film let him down massively. It was an injustice. League. Snyder's version dives deeper into Cyborg's backstory and his relationship with his dad, giving us better insight as to why things are so strained between the two. In the previous version, we could tell things were strained, but we never really got much clarity on it. But now, Cyborg is probably the most developed character of the entire film. He's angry at the current state of himself, of what he's become. He's a machine. He doesn't know how he's going to fit into the world. But what's also great is you get to see how much humanity he still has. His story is probably the most integral. You can even argue he is the linchpin of the group, and he has become one of my favourite things about the whole movie. And another thing, maybe not about character development, this film certainly showcases the superheroes better in terms of them as superheroes and their abilities. Everyone seems to have a purpose in this film and a place on the team. There is a reason for them being there. Now, with 2 movies under her belt now, this is definitely the best version of Wonder Woman I've seen throughout everything. She is awesome here. Cyborg, as I've already mentioned, is being shown off far more in this film, especially in terms of his near limitless supercomputer capabilities. And with the Flash, his super speed sequences are far more hypnotizing and appealing, somewhat reminiscent of Quicksilver's sequence in Days of Futures Past. There is a lot of slow-mo in this version of the film, actually. Probably that is why the film is so long. I exaggerate a little bit, but there is a lot of slow motion. It actually, you realise how many moments are slowed down, not just for the Flash sequences, but also action sequences. It really has been overused. I think Snyder's done a little bit of an error here, and I'm exaggerating, but it is already about 3 hours 45 minutes long. We don't need it to be feeling like it's 5 hours because of all the slow motion. But to Snyder's credit, he is very good at storytelling, and you can definitely compliment him on how much better this has improved. The plot doesn't race along like Whedon's version. Time is actually taken to set the scenes. It's giving you the background. Not only that, but you do see heroes as more of a team in this version. Really, because the last version raced along so much and they crammed everything into 2 hours, you felt like the Justice League wasn't a team. Just some people who got bundled together and decided to just go to battle and happen to come out on top. But now we're seeing these iconic superheroes coming together, actually forming as a proper team, actually bonding in some ways as well. You actually see the camaraderie develop between them more, especially in the fight scenes. These are way better. Like, as I said, it just shows off all the superhero abilities more. So as a result of this, when they fight, they do things in sync and play more off of each other. The music is noticeably more badass too, because the motifs used and the signatures of the individuals are actually collaborated better in this version of the film. And some of the guitar riffs really kind of rev you up for the action moments. And when it comes to the visuals, I was a little thrown to see the 4:3 aspect ratio compared to a familiar 21:9 cinema style. I thought the trailers were cool and retro because it was like the recut. I didn't realise the film was actually going to be that way as well. But with everything Zack Snyder, there is always a reason. And this is to give you more of that IMAX feeling. It's focusing more on the up and down rather than the widescreen. And the size of the picture was something I noticed at first. I was like, why am I getting these cut off bits at the edge of my TV? But it's amazing how after 2 minutes, you don't realise and your mind starts filling in the blanks. Just everything about this film is better. You know when you say to people, I wish I could experience something for the first time again? Watching this new cut, You see some parts that are familiar and from the previous version. They're similar scenes, but they're extended or they've been changed in some way. So the feeling of watching Snyder's film is familiar, but all the while you realise this is how it was meant to be in the first place. You are seeing something new. There is so much new stuff and so much more being fed to you in ways of plot, characters, motivations. It really is like watching it for the first time all over again. But it's a shame that we just didn't get this version all along. And I'm reminded that the original release happened. But now I start thinking, why did Joss Whedon make cuts and alterations and give us a completely different film? Especially than what was intended from Zack Snyder. Why did he bring actors back and do reshoots and provide something so different from the original intent? He had everything, the film was shot, yet he still decided to go back and reshoot and change dialogue and scenes, and he had everything to give us the film, but he didn't. What Zack Snyder has given us is maybe a second chance. Or at least maybe a fighting chance. What he's given us is better than the original, I can say that much. The film is definitely building the whole time. It is working towards something. It's working up to something else where Whedon's film really just left things as more of an ending. Here with Zack Snyder's Justice League, he's leading us to a sequel, maybe more of an episodic movie universe. There are a couple of films on the way. We've got the Flashpoint movie, we've got Aquaman 2, but lots of reports that have come out lately are saying that Warner Brothers aren't going to continue with any more Zack Snyder films related to the DCEU. But with fans being so pleased with the Zack Snyder cut, I think there are already hashtags going around asking him to come back and continue on with this shared universe. People want to see what he was leading us towards, maybe a Justice League sequel, other tie-ins, Man of Steel sequels, more Henry Cavill as Superman, maybe more as Ben Affleck as Batman. Now all the bits of news that I'm seeing online are saying this isn't going to happen, the studios don't want to continue with Zack Snyder and the DCEU is really dead. But if this film has shown us anything, it tells us that the power sometimes really does lie with the people, to the fans. So those are my thoughts on this one, Reelers. I really did enjoy this recut of the film. To be honest though, if we always had this version and we ignore the version we were given 3 years ago, I look at it and I think, yeah, it's good. It's not great though. Much better comparing it to the other one, but I still don't think it's a masterpiece. Really did enjoy it though. I'm still giving it 3.5 reels, and that isn't a bad score at all. It's above average, it's not great, it's good though. It's a good score, it's a solid score. That's my real deal review. Let me know your thoughts and comment below. If you enjoyed this review, please do give it a like. It really does help the video in the world of YouTube, so be sure to give it that thumbs up. You can also subscribe to the Rusty Reels YouTube channel. Just click subscribe below and then click the bell so you get those notifications when other videos come out. And if you want to see a few more videos from my channel, you can look at some of the suggestions coming up now for you, or just head over there and go crazy. You can see more day-to-day Rusty Reels posts by following me on social media at Rusty Reels. Preferably just do all three: subscribe, watch, and follow. As always, thanks for watching, Reelers, and in the meantime, just be real.